Anyway, well, John,
We're back.
finally.
Finally back.
I know, man. I can't tell you how many text messages and private messages and phone calls. You guys all done? It's like, no. Our schedules have just been.
Well, schedules, a lot
season.
of hunting season.
Yeah.
Your house.
My house has been,
Yeah. It all added up, so we decided to take a few months off.
Yeah. Well, which like we've been warning everybody.
Exactly.
But
especially through hunting season. But.
Yeah. We're back on the game now, and we're going to plan on just keep rolling along now again.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Lots to talk about.
Life's been good?
It's been very good, except for I've got a cold over the last couple of days.
Really?
So, yeah. It's good. I just like to whine, so.
Okay. All right. Well, I had surgery, so I
That's
guess
true.
that's, anyway.
You can whine too if you want to make me feel better.
No, I didn't. No, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm getting through it. This is a good time of year. I had to forfeit Arizona this year.
Oh, that's right.
But, because I'd be there now.
Right.
But I figured, I'd rather give it up now because I am still working on the house.
Yeah, right. So, well, then you should be good.
That's the other thing too.
September.
Bear season. Well.
Oh yeah, bear season.
Bear season, all that fun stuff.
It's coming.
It is.
Excited.
Anyway, pretty excited today. We got a friend of mine, longtime friend Terry Hess, with us, and appreciate you. I know your work over this way, so it worked out great. But
worked out.
Appreciate you to take the time to come over here and.
Thanks for having me. First podcast.
Is it?
I'm flattered that you'd invite me down here. So
well, you got some good. I've known Terry on and off through Idaho State Bowhunters for a lot of years. When I say on and off, we'd see each other on and off. Yeah. But I remember the last time we kind of reconnected, I guess it'd been several years in between, was when you were at Joel Turner's Shot IQ, who he was here in Twin Falls. And that's when we got to talking a little more. And it's like, man, I remember we chatted a few times at Jamboree, but I'm so busy when I was director of competition that you don't really get a chance to talk much. But I thought, man, that guy, I thought you're a really cool guy and legit. And you're close to my age. I think you're just a couple years younger than me.
Just turned 60.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'll be 60 this year. So
welcome to the club.
I know my wife was saying something the other day about the we're going to the movies. She says that by June you'll get a discount. I'm like,
so I guess there's advantages.
Yeah,
to it.
Feels good to be the young guy in the room.
Yeah. The old season part.
Yeah,
it's not old, it's seasoned.
Love the name of the podcast. It's great.
But you're staying in good health and in good shape, and I do admire that. And I hate even saying this on the air, but I'm going to. That 2023, I kind of vowed to myself that this is going to be my year. I had to have surgery on my hand and my arm and whatnot. That I'm vowing to get in better shape as a whole, because we got to stay on top of it as we get seasoned.
Doesn't get easier.
No, it doesn't. But you've obviously stayed on top of it good, which we'll probably talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
So anyway, how did you end up out here anyway? Because you're not native Idaho, right?
No. I'm originally from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. What brought me to Idaho is I joined the Air Force when I was 17. Got sort of forced in that direction. Me and my girlfriend got pregnant when I was 17. She was 16, so it's one of those, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now deals. And where I grew up in very rural Pennsylvania. I was born in Lancaster, but my dad moved us up to where he grew up, very rural. Grew up in a town of 35 people.
Oh, that's rural.
It was really small in the Blue Ridge, Allegheny Mountains, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Is it good hunting there?
Yeah, well, yes. It was when I was growing up, because a lot of the land wasn't posted. Nobody cared where you went or where you hunted. It was just wide open.
Yeah.
Me and my brother would take off on a Saturday morning. Mom would getting tired of you guys, get out of the house. We'd end up 6-8 miles from the house just hiking around.
Wow.
And in the meantime, you're jumping deer and making mental note of that for the deer season, that kind of stuff. But joined the Air Force when I was 17. Got stationed in some really good locations, but came to Idaho in '94, and had I've had some great hunting success out here.
Mountain Home, right?
Yeah, I was stationed at Mountain Home. Retired from the Air Force in 2000. Just decided to stay here.
Oh,
So
well, you got hooked pretty quick, didn't you?
yeah. So as I was telling you, I was stationed here 32 days. And in the military, if you're active duty, you can buy a resident license at the 30-day point, which I did.
Oh.
And I had a friend in Michigan that was stationed here at Mountain Home.
Oh.
He sat me down with some maps, taught me to cow call and the bugle, and we talked. He goes, man, he knew all about the areas that he was showing me on the maps. So I just picked one area, and I was here about 2 weeks, went on a scouting trip to one of these areas, and I remember coming down off the mountain, walking this pack trail, and I'm like, there's a dog barking at me. I'm like, there can't be it's an elk. And I got to looking, there's a cow downhill from me barking at me.
Oh.
First time I ever heard,
A bark.
a bark. I'm like, okay, well, this looks to be a good place. I guess when I'm legal, I'll come back here to hunt.
There's at least one elk here.
Yeah. So I'm like, just go with it, right? So my son at the time was 10, and I said, hey, why don't you go with me? What could happen the first day hunting elk in Idaho? Never hunted them before. So long story short, third bugle from the truck, I get an answer. And I'm like, I looked at my son, I go, that's probably another hunter. I looked up the ridge, I looked at him, I go, that's not another hunter. There's this bull coming.
Wow.
So we made our way over into his direction and got in a spot where I thought we should stop. And the bull bugled a couple more times, and then he hung up. And I remember watching Larry D. Jones videos.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to pick up this stick and rake this tree. Bam, that did it.
Oh, wow.
As soon as I raked that tree, he came in. I shot him at 7 or 8 yards.
Oh, wow.
And he ran down the mountain to the pack trail. And thank God he died, rolled over on his back with
perfect.
his legs spread. 'Cause
That don't happen.
I didn't know anything about the gutless method.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
I knew how to cut up a whitetail
Sure.
on the ground, but I didn't know the gutless method. So turned out he was a 7x7.
Wow.
So people
And you're like, this elk cutting is
Yeah.
easy stuff.
Right.
So I called my buddy that had told me all about Idaho. I said, so now that I've killed a bull elk, what else is there to do in Idaho? He couldn't believe it, but
Did he come help you pack it out and all that, or?
no. So thank God we're only a half mile from the truck, but it took me 7 trips because my son, he could carry my bow.
Yeah.
That was about it.
Yeah.
I finally got everything back to the
And you weren't,
truck.
since you didn't do it gutless, it takes more trips than if you did it
Right,
gutless too.
right.
So yeah, I get it.
So I gutted him and then broke him down.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, just started making trips. And there was a creek not far from the truck. And I just had meat and the quarters in game bags. I just dropped it in the water. I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just got to get the meat cooled down. I know that.
Yeah.
So I got everything loaded in the truck. We got in the truck where I'm dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't hardly walk at that point. So we drove down the road a little ways, and here's these 2 guys saddling up some horses.
Oh.
And they saw the antlers sticking out of the back of the truck, and they flagged me down. Turns out they're active duty Air Force from Mountain Home, but I hadn't met them. I'd only been there 32 days.
Yeah.
But over time, they both became good friends. I didn't have a camera with me. Never thought about that I was going to kill an elk the first day.
Right.
So drug the antlers out. They took pictures of me. Wrote up this little story, sent that into Bow Hunter magazine back then. And
Oh.
I got a little quarter-page
Oh, nice.
article. So that was
Nice.
a pretty cool first experience in
heck
Idaho.
Right.
People were ready to throw me out of the state. That word about that got around the base pretty quick.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, and they're like, "You're that guy." Yeah, so that was my
Nothing wrong
intro to
being that guy.
Idaho. Yeah, it was a neat experience to say the least.
Right.
What'd you do in the Air Force?
Aircraft maintenance.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So at least I got a skill out of the military that I did transfer to the civilian sector when I got out.
Oh.
So after I retired, I worked on the south side of the Boise airport,
Okay.
working on business jets
Oh, okay.
and turboprops, things of that nature.
Gotcha. And now what is it you do? Because I know you travel.
Yeah, now I'm a safety and risk consultant for an insurance company.
Okay.
The Air Force is really big on pushing risk management.
Uh-huh.
When you have high valued assets like multi-million dollar aircraft, they really push risk management. You can't be losing these planes.
Yeah.
So they sort of pound it into your head.
Yeah.
I ended up getting a degree that Uncle Sam paid for. It was in safety and management.
Huh.
And at this business jet center, I got promoted to safety manager. And one day this guy comes from the insurance company to look at, what are you guys doing to stay safe? We knew each other from the Air Force.
Oh.
He offered me a job.
Oh. This is about the time after you retired already, right?
Yeah, I had already retired. And we knew each other back in like 1981.
Oh, wow.
And now this is 2008.
Oh, wow.
But you remember each other.
Sure.
So he offered me a job working as an aviation safety consultant for an insurance company.
Huh.
So for 9 years, I traveled all over the country meeting with airlines, police departments, wheelchair pushers, and got tired of the travel.
I bet.
Got to see some neat places. Got to go to Nome and
Oh.
Anchorage and Fairbanks and places like that. So
Yeah.
good places to go to, get familiar with, and go, okay, I feel comfortable coming back here now.
Yeah.
So I got tired of the travel, found another job with an insurance company out of Utah, out of Salt Lake, that wanted a consultant in Boise. So I've been doing that now for the last 6 years.
Oh.
Nice.
Just visiting with companies, trying to get them to implement safety programs to keep people from getting hurt. Make sure they're in compliance with whatever OSHA says they should be doing.
Oh. Which kind of the transition into what you're kind of doing now.
Yeah.
Some stuff. On
Instagram.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I've had this idea for a while about taking what I know from work and translating it or moving it over to what I love to do, is be in the outdoors, hunting, fishing, whatever. And I'd been telling my family about it for a while. My youngest daughter, who is a director of operations for a real estate business, so she's always on social media posting houses and ads and whatnot. She goes, "Dad, you need to do this. People don't know enough about risk management in the outdoors." I'm like, well, it's common sense.
Right. You would think.
You would think.
Unfortunately, common sense isn't always so common.
Right. And so for my birthday, when I turned 60, she went on GoDaddy, bought me a website. She named it Hunt and Heart, started an Instagram page, named it the same thing, and said, "Here, go."
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, all right, she kicked me off the edge is what she did.
Right.
So I'm still learning how to post reels, but she's training me up real quick.
Yeah, you seem to be doing good. Everyone that I've seen.
Yeah, it's funny. I go back and look at the number of times a reel's been viewed.
Yeah.
The one that's been viewed the most, I did one on making sure you check your meat temperature when you're cooking it.
Oh.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's had over 2,000 views.
Right.
And all the other ones are right around 300-400.
Yeah.
I'm like, it'd be nice to know why.
Right.
Why are they watching that one? But I did mention, if you remember, you can get trichinosis from bear meat if it's not cooked right.
Yep.
I've heard that's extremely painful.
Yeah,
I don't want to do it.
No, me either. That's one thing. Even though, I don't waste the meat on bear. I know you don't legally have to keep it, but I always keep mine. But whatever I make, I usually make sure that's, it's like a sausage or a bacon or something like that. So it is cooked all the way, because I'm not going to take a chance.
Yeah.
For sure with it. But,
Yeah, I would hate to experience that.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, once that's in your body, you can't get rid of it.
Yes, what I've heard.
Yeah. Bad stuff. So, yeah, my plan is to I've got a list I'm keeping on my phone every time I think of a different
Subject.
topic. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I put it in my phone and I'm like, wow, I could stay busy, just doing reels, but I figure 1 to 2 a week because I work full time.
Sure.
So I was out last weekend. I was out shooting my rifle, so I just did a couple on hearing protection. Mm. I want to do one more. I don't know that people. You guys probably know this. Guys are out hunting and they know ear protection and they shoot and go, well, I never hear the gun go off. Well, your brain might not hear it going off, but your ears are still receiving the impact.
Oh, absolutely.
And honestly, right now, I have 2 hearing aids. I should be wearing. I have ringing in my left ear that never goes away.
Really?
I
I
was
have a
on
little bit too.
a javelina hunt in Arizona, and I'm sitting on this rock next to the guy I'm hunting with, and I hear a noise to my right, and I turn and look, and there's javelina about 50 yards to the right. So I turn right, get lined up. He turns to the right, and that puts the gun barrel.
Oh, you're hunting with a gun. Oh.
Yeah, I did a 3-2-1. We shot. When he shot, I rolled off the boulder onto the ground in pain. So I think that's where that tinnitus came from.
I think where mine came from, I was guiding, and I had 2 hunters, and it was nice 6-point bull. One was on each side of me. I'm looking through my binoculars, so none of this, because I wanted to see if they hit. They both had muzzle brakes, both shooting 338 with muzzle brakes, and I wasn't in front of them, obviously, but I was probably even with them enough that I caught it. But I mean, yeah, my ears hurt, and it's never really been the same.
That's the thing with hearing. Once that's gone,
yeah,
chances are it's not coming back.
Well, me working, I worked underground in mining for a lot of years, and it's super loud underground with fans and everything pushing air around. And there's so many guys I'd see that I worked with that didn't wear hearing protection, but I was really adamant about wearing my hearing protection and my eyes too, because those are 2 things. I know you can get eyes fixed to a point, but the hearing, I mean, granted, you got hearing aids as well, but if you're trying to prevent that, if you can, why not do it?
Yeah, and it's that risk management. It's why I started that page.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe raise someone's awareness, especially younger folks.
Yeah.
The guys that think, well, I never hear the gun go off. You're still receiving that damage,
Absolutely.
whether you realize it or
Yeah.
not. And over time, you get to our age, you get to be a seasoned hunter.
Yeah.
So now, when I hunt, I have one of those neck bands with the
That's what I was going
earbuds
to
on
ask
in.
you what you use. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm even shooting a suppressor now.
Yeah.
But I still throw those on real quick.
Yeah.
I won't shoot anymore without it.
Yeah.
Or I have Walker's game earbuds that go in. They can enhance your hearing.
Yeah.
But at the shot, it's hard to describe. It doesn't like totally shut off.
Right.
But
close.
it stops the high intensity noise above probably 85, 90 decibels. It shuts off, so you're not getting that impact that you would without it.
Yeah.
But if you use anything electronic and you're in the backcountry, that battery goes dead.
Oh.
Then you're, unless you have a pack with you to charge them back up.
Yeah.
I think the hard part after not doing it for so many years is just remembering to put them in when the moment comes. There's so much going on, and
Right.
I've done that. I always try to carry ear protection, but
Do you forget?
I forget. I did it this year on my muzzleloader hunt. Had it with me, and just
Planned on using it?
yeah, and you forgot to put it in.
Yeah, now with the damage that I have, if I happen to be beside someone that shoots or I forget, it's painful.
Oh, really?
Yeah, now it'll be painful for a couple of days afterwards.
Oh, wow.
So that's my motivation to
Yeah.
get the earplugs in.
I do remember them coming down with one of their little meters, and just in the radio, because like in the vehicle, this is underground I'm talking about, the vehicle I was in, you had to turn the radio up pretty high, and when it would key up, it was like 105.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it was pretty loud and kind of piercing, And like I said, I had earplugs in, the earplugs we had probably, I don't know, 6 or 8 options, but I always went for the ones that were the best as far as, because some guys would just put the easiest ones in,
Right.
but they really weren't the best as far as preventing.
Right.
And I went for the ones, not that I'm anything great or anything. I just did it because I thought, well, if I'm going to wear them, I might as well wear the best ones. And so,
Yeah, it's got to be noisy down in the mines. That sound can't get away.
yeah.
There's nowhere,
Yeah,
it's not like you're out in the wide open air.
Right. Yeah. I've got a suppressor too, and it's amazing what a difference that thing makes by itself.
It takes the recoil, a lot of the recoil out. It cuts way down the noise.
Yeah.
And consequently, I think I'm more accurate.
Really?
Yeah, because now I know, and I'm only shooting a 30-06.
Okay.
But now I know I'm not going to suffer any consequences from it.
Oh.
the recoil,
Yep.
so it's easier for me to stay in the scope.
Yep.
And the last buck I shot with the rifle was in the Frank Church last year. I saw the buck go down. The gun didn't jump.
Oh, gotcha.
It stayed on the pack. I squeezed the trigger, and I was, the Joel Turner thing,
Yeah.
keep pressing,
Yeah.
boom, the gun went off. I heard the bullet hit, co-op, and I saw him fall.
Huh.
So I think there's a lot of advantages to the suppressor over
Yeah,
just
yeah.
the noise
Yeah.
part
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a killer deal on the suppressor. I couldn't pass it up. I just had to wait the 10 months to get the stamp.
Yeah. Now it's a lot quicker.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. Now there's places where you can just do a handprint now instead of the fingerprint thing and send it all in. Everything goes in electronically, and it's taken I've heard some people say 90 days, and I don't know how true that is, but just a lot quicker. I waited I think I ordered mine in March, and I had drawn an Arizona tag. I was hoping to get it before then. And literally opening day, I happen to have service on the hill. They didn't even think I did, but I'm sitting there glassing, and all of a sudden my phone rang, and it was a guy saying, "Hey, your stamp's here. You can come and get suppressor." It's like, I kind of wanted it for this hunt.
Yeah, the government works at the speed of smell, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So you do Arizona hunt very much?
I was stationed in Arizona at one point in time
Okay.
in Phoenix. So yeah, I shot one mule deer there, a couple javelina.
Gotcha.
But I'd like to go back.
Archery, like the archery.
Yeah, I'd like to shoot a javelina with the bow.
Yeah.
And actually, I've been talking. I think the person you go to Arizona with, Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
and,
my guy. Yeah.
And I think we have another mutual friend there. I was thinking about this yesterday when I put this hat on. I understand you know Chris Denham
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. That's how I started going down
Yeah.
there. Was Chris.
I met him through Train to Hunt.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know who he was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got seated against him in a Train to Hunt event.
Oh, gotcha.
And some guys come over to me and they go, "Do you know who that is?" No, he said his name's Chris. So came to know who he is, got to know him a little bit over the years. I hope to see him here coming up to Hunt Expo again.
Yeah.
Found out we're 3 to 4 days apart in age.
Oh.
And here we're about the same physical fitness
Yeah.
level.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
He's a super good guy. I mean, yeah.
One time we were doing a weighted pack competition up a double Black Diamond Mountain on Ski Hill is where they laid out the course. And I'm passing Chris, and he's like, "Go, Terry, go!" And then Chris is passing me. I'm like, "Come on, Chris, get it!"
Yeah.
So it's just cool
Yeah.
having somebody being
Yeah,
around
yeah.
somebody positive and upbeat
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
For sure. Because he's just a super good guy. I mean,
Yeah.
I met him down. We were helping a kid who he was in remission, but he had cancer previously, and I went down to go help film a hunt down there in Arizona, and that's where I met Chris. And there's a big group of guys, and then he invited me to come back and go hunting, and that's how I tell him it's his fault.
Yeah, now you're down there every
hooked
year.
on coos, and yeah,
I would like to do that too. It's just a matter of planning.
Yeah.
Right. I try to plan, a year, 2 years in advance.
oh,
Because sometimes costs, what you're doing costs money, and
sure,
I want to
it does, yeah.
plan that out.
This is the time, like I says, I had Curtis and I know he's a little bummed. So was I. We would be there now because the season starts January 1st, and but that's the way it worked out this year. So, but
Always next year.
yeah,
You hope.
next year I'm plan on going back again, but like I said, I forfeited it this year. But
Do you find yourself at this point as a seasoned hunter every year as the season comes to an end? I think about, well, there's always next year. Or is there?
Right.
I try not to think that.
How many of those are left?
Yeah, I know that there's less.
Yeah.
But less than more. But I mean, gosh, like we could look back at our heydays or hay years where we were killing lots of animals, different animals, not shooting 12 does or whatever,
Right.
back east or whatever. Nothing against that at all. But I think about those years where I was killing 7 to 9 different animals, and how many years I went on a run, a streak, killing elk, but I think a lot of it is for me, and maybe you found this too, is just kind of priorities do change a little bit. And even though it's still a big part of our life, there's, like my house the last couple years has taken priority because I want to get it done, because I'm not getting any younger, and I'm doing the majority of the work. So that's kind of taken priority for me. But then I stop and think, oh man, how many more of these chances am I going to have?
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I drew a bull elk tag on Bennett for August.
Oh,
this
did
last
you?
year, but at the same time, I drew a Ruby Mountain archery deer tag in August. So then it was like,
because that one's August 1st, and Ruby Mountain's August 10th it starts?
Yeah. So
Archery, right?
yeah,
Archery,
and rubies.
Ruby, yeah.
So I did the first weekend on Bennett. Didn't do any good. I have a grandson that's 10, and he wants to start coming along, so that sort of limits where I can go, which is fine.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the priority had to be Nevada.
Yeah.
So me and a friend, Scott, we packed in 9 miles into the wilderness, stayed in there for 8 days. We saw bucks, but the problem is you see a buck, they're in bachelor groups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now instead of 1 buck, you got 6
Yeah.
bedded together.
Yep.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. And it's pretty open. A lot of that is pretty open, those high mountain.
Mm-hmm. So we did know a guy from Nampa that killed a real nice buck in the same area opening morning. So we thought, well, we got 8 days. We got to get on something. It just never. I was in bow range twice and just got busted both times. Nothing real big, but learned a lot.
Yeah.
So.
And there again, thinking back all the years, I mean, you shot plenty of animals and everything. Still, some of those experiences, of getting schooled, so to speak. I mean, they still, to me, are a highlight of my hunt. I don't know about you, John.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I hate it after the fact. But
Right.
Well, I think that's why people see these hunting videos and the guy finally connects and he's just jumping up and down, fist pumping in the air, hooting and hollering.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
It's because there's so many times when you get busted and it doesn't happen. And here it comes again, and if you're bow hunting, you're hooked up, your release hooked up to the string, and you're thinking, is this going to happen? Is this going to happen?
Yeah. Well, and how many, like on a video, you might see 1 or 2 failures, what they show, and it's just because of time-wise.
Right.
But there may be, even big TV shows, blah, 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 a lot of those guys, they don't show you all the failures.
Yep.
It takes, especially on film, it's a lot tougher to get it on film than it is
Oh, I can imagine.
just trying to hunt, because you got more things to look at. Or if you have somebody with you even filming, not only you're trying to get yourself in range, they got to be somewhat in range too. And how many times has that blown it?
Yeah. Plenty.
Yeah, there's so much that happens in the fur ball of activity, I call it, leading up to when it all finally comes together. That's why it's so, it's just hard to describe that feeling when it all finally comes together.
Yeah, not very often it comes together. That hunt the one you filmed me by the farm fields. I mean, that couldn't have.
That worked out pretty well.
It did. I mean, everything just fell together the first day, boom, and get it done. Don't always work out that way. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think if we could go back and in our memories and think about the number of failures compared to the number of successes.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Right.
One way outweighs the other, and it's not.
Yeah.
I save all my unused tags in a shoebox.
Oh, shoot.
I need another shoebox.
Right.
It's getting to be that way. So
That's funny.
yeah. So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
One of the things I want to talk about, and speaking about things that going wrong, and then you have success.
Yeah.
The moose hunt that I told you went on. I noticed you had a moose mount upstairs there. Back in 2014, me and a friend got drawn for bull moose in eastern Idaho.
Cyrus.
Yeah, and made a couple scouting trips over there in the summer. And I remember one trip going over there, we were talking about, hey, the Snake River runs through a lot of our hunting area. We should see about renting a raft or a boat. And I remember making a phone call to a place over there and asked the gentleman, can we rent, I think it was a drift boat. And he said, it depends what part of the river you're going on. And I told him, he goes, nope, won't
Really?
rent one. And I was like, okay, I was just curious why. He goes, because too many snags in that part of the river, too many people die on that part of the river. Sorry, we don't rent out to people. Well, I didn't remember that, didn't think about it. But anyhow, it gets to October, and my friend Gene had a buddy named Brad who worked on the North Slope, and he was going to be home for 30 days. He had an 18-foot jet boat.
Oh.
He said, man, I'll go along with you guys. I'll be the boat captain.
Did you draw it with Gene? Did you
Yeah.
draw this tape? Okay.
Yeah, so he's like, I'll go with you. So cool, now we got a jet boat to use. So we put in, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Rexburg, between Idaho Falls and Rexburg.
Yeah.
Lorenzo Bridge.
No, I'm not familiar with that.
They call it the dual bridges. There's a boat launch right there. It's since closed. I don't know if it's because of our incident, but the boat launch is not there anymore. So our plan was to go upriver toward Hesse. And every time we'd see moose tracks on the bank, we'd have him beach the boat. We'd jump out, hunt for a while, come back to the boat. Well, I was rereading the article in Bowhunter last night. The third time I think we did that, we leave the bank and we go to throttle up the boat, and the motor stops, just boom, shuts off, won't restart. So we drifted back down the river a ways, grabbed a hold of a tree, held the boat in place while Gene's a mechanic.
Yeah.
So they were messing around, pulled the spark plug, did whatever they could. It fired again, but only for a short amount, long enough to get us out in the middle of the river, and then it cut off again. Long story short, it never restarted. So
Is it deep in that part?
that time of year, it wasn't real deep. The river's way down, but it's the main channel that's still flowing.
Okay.
And being the Snake River, having all those
Yeah.
bends in it,
Yeah.
when the river got into the bends, it would flow. It was pretty fast. So at that point, we're like, well, okay, what are we going to do? And have you ever been in a situation with some of your hunting buddies where the conversation sort of goes like, oh, this is bad. What are we going to do? And somebody goes, it'll be all right. And I often think of that saying, hold my beer, watch this. Because usually when that's said, it'll be all right, or we'll be okay, don't worry about it. Not enough thought was put into this situation.
It's more of a hopeful thought.
Yes. And just because you say that
Yeah.
doesn't make it so.
Yeah.
But I think that was our mindset. You just want everything to be okay,
Yeah.
but will it? And we didn't really think that. We're just like, we're just going to float back down to the boat launch. Well, we're 3 miles up the Snake River from the boat launch. And now the only thing we have is the oars that were in the boat. And what we found is every time we'd go into a turn and the current picked up, we'd lose control, even with the oars. And we'd slam into the bank, boat would spin around, we'd have to hold on to the sides. And then it'd shoot us back out to the channel, and it was smooth again. Well, that was pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And just looking back on the whole thing, we could have did some things different.
So, quick question. So you're on the main Snake,
Right.
and I've never been to that part of the Snake. I mean, just heard people that have drawn it and whatnot. Compared to the Snake River, like by here and stuff,
Right.
where it's really wide and everything, I'm assuming it's a lot narrower there,
It is.
correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Much narrower, probably 60, 80 yards across
Okay.
in most areas.
Okay.
So yeah, not real wide, and that's deceiving
Yeah.
because you're thinking, wow, the river's not that big. How bad can it be?
Yeah.
So, looking back, we could have did some things different. It's not anybody's fault. It's just decisions we made at the time. At one point, we pulled out underneath a bridge. And there's cars going across the bridge, and we talked about, should we leave the boat here or walk up to the road?
Could you have got out, no problem, and everything?
We could have got out, but then the conversation was, well, how are we going to get the boat out of the river? Because they had these huge boulders underneath the bridge for erosion control. We're like, how are we going to get the boat up those rocks?
Yeah.
we'll be all right. So,
Famous last words.
yeah, long story short, we weren't all right. We got down the river a ways and came into this corner. And it was one of those deals, as you come around the corner, I think all three of us saw it at the same time. There's this snag right smack dab in the middle of the current. And I think at the same time, we were all like, oh, bleep. So we had the oars, but again, very little control in that current. Right. And the boat went up onto the snag sideways and rolled to the right. And as soon as it did that, it filled with water, and that boat sunk in, it couldn't have been 2 seconds.
Wow.
But it sunk nose first. I was toward the back. Brad and Gene were up front. Brad, obviously, I think was at the console. They went out the front of the boat into the water. By the way, we didn't have life vests on.
Did you have them with you?
Yeah.
Terry.
Yeah, no. The safety guy, right?
Right.
That's what I was like.
I was wearing the life vest. What's that?
Practice what you preach.
Yeah. I was wearing it initially. Every time we'd be underway, I'd throw it on. Mm-hmm. And then I got tired of just putting it off. So I just left it off. But yeah, no life vest. They dive into the river, packs, everything. I think Brad lost a rifle, a shotgun, and a handgun. And it's still down there as far as we know. Yeah, everything goes in the water.
Were you hunting with bows or guns?
Yeah. So I'm scrambling. The boat sinks nose first, and I'm scrambling out the back. Well, it sunk it stood up in the river on its nose. So I'm literally climbing the boat to get up and go out the back. Well, the bows hit me in the leg. I'm like, if we lose the bows, it's over. I grab both bows, jump up on, I guess it's the transom that the motor mounts to. Yeah. I am now standing next to the motor, looking at where the tree is.
The snag coming off the bank?
Yeah, and I'm thinking, how can I jump clear of this because I don't want to get caught up in the snag. And all of a sudden I realize the boat's not moving. I'm on this much dry boat. The rest of it's underwater with my hand on the motor, both bows in my hand, and I'm like bouncing up and down. I'm good. I'm good. I'm not jumping in the water.
Yeah.
And I see Gene and Brad climb up the bank further down the river, and they come running back yelling, jump, jump. And I said, no, I'm good right here. Finally, common sense kicked in. And I'm like, I'm not jumping in the water that I don't know from a place that I do know.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting dark by now.
Oh.
And we started yelling for help. We knew there was 3 guys behind us in a drift boat. And they heard us, so they pulled up short of the wreck, so to speak. Unloaded everything. The guy that owned the drift boat floated right down to me within 2 feet. I stepped into his boat. I never got wet.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That's funny.
And saved the bows?
Well, that's another story. So instead of holding on to the bows in hindsight, which I should have did, I was envisioning staying out there on the boat all night long, maybe sitting down and leaning up against the motor to sleep. So Gene comes out as far as he can, and I try throwing the bows to shore. I think I threw mine first, and I had a soft lock quiver on, but I had white wraps. Well, it was dark enough to where he saw the white wraps. He reaches for my arrows, and the quiver comes off the bow. Oh. And I see it cartwheeling down the river. Oh. I'm like, great, that's gone.
Is it gone?
Yeah, so then I throw Gene's bow, and he's able to, it lands in the water again, but he's able to jump on it and get the bow.
Save your bow, Gene. Oh.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. Love you, Gene.
So, guy in the drift boat comes down. I get on the boat. As soon as I get to shore, I'm like wading up and down the river trying to find my bow. Of course, it's camo. It matches perfectly the river rock. That part
dark, almost dark, huh?
Yeah, so I'm down there with the headlamp looking. I'm like, I know it can't be very far. So my bow's basically gone. So we call 911, and Gene and Brad had started a fire on the shore, so they were drying out.
Yeah.
We were getting warm. We're sort of like shaking our heads going, did this really just happen? And then you hear the sirens coming. You can hear them from a distance, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening to us. And then here comes the search and rescue boat with the flashing lights and the sirens. And the search and rescue folks were outstanding. Great people. So they come and get us, take us back down to where they launched their boat, And when we got there was 2 guys in dry suits. And it dawned on us at that point, the dry suit guys were there for not rescue.
Oh.
They were there for body recovery.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they told us, they said, you guys shouldn't have went upriver. 4 people died right there on that stretch of river this summer.
Oh.
So we were like, where were you guys this morning when we put the boat in the water?
Yeah, really.
Long story short, yeah, we ended up getting the boat back.
Wow.
Search and rescue took Brad back up there the next day to look at the boat to see if they could possibly hook up, block, and tackle to the shore and get it out. While they're doing that, Brad looks down and sees my bow.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
He dives in, comes up with my bow.
Oh, wow.
2 days later, 3 days later, I killed a bull moose with that bow.
Nice. Nice.
It was, unbelievable.
And Gene got one too, right?
And then Gene ended up getting one.
Yeah.
So, but looking back on it, like I said, we could have did a lot of things better. We probably could have had a more in-depth conversation about, okay, what are our options here? Could we just leave it by the rocks under the bridge and we figured out how to get it out of the river after it sunk. We probably could have figured out how to get it up the rocks.
Yeah.
There are other options. We probably should have had the life vests on.
That would have been a good one.
Yeah.
Did you lose gear too, like packs and all that?
My pack floated.
Oh.
I had an Everly stock. It's a day pack. A1?
Everly stock.
It's just a day pack with a
Yeah,
fold
A1,
out.
I think that's right.
The
I can't
A1.
remember.
I still have it.
Oh, yeah.
It floated.
Huh?
And then I keep all my emergency stuff in Ziploc bags. That's how they started the fire.
Oh,
I know
gotcha.
Gene lost some gear. Brad lost, like I said, rifle, shotgun, handgun. Funny thing is, when they got the boat out of the water, he had a Garmin GPS unit in the console.
Yeah.
When he opened the console, all the water ran out. And that Garmin was still on,
Oh, wow.
still functional.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah, but just from a risk management, the outdoor standpoint, I should have put together when I called about renting the raft, and the guy said, "We won't rent to you on that part of the river."
That's what I was thinking earlier. I was thinking maybe you've done a little more research on
Why?
that. Yeah.
That would have been a wise move on our part.
That hunt is that short range weapon hunt, correct?
Correct.
Shotgun, muzzleloader, archery. Okay. Yeah.
So when I got to the shore, I looked at Gene. I said, "I'm not giving up." And he goes, "I'm not either." And we get up the next morning. We were staying in a camper right outside of Rexburg. And we jump in Gene's truck. It's dead. It won't start. Then I was about ready to give up.
Right.
It's like, what else could possibly go wrong?
yeah.
So when we scored, the elation
Yeah.
Right.
was
I
just
bet.
off the charts.
Right.
I bet.
It's like, at first we were saying, I'm not shooting a bullwinkle. No, me either. We're waiting for something huge. First time I saw antlers.
Right.
So he wasn't nearly as big as the one you have on the wall, but it all worked out.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially with all the situation that happened and everything. I mean, it'd be.
Yeah, we were pretty happy,
Yeah.
to say the least.
And
No
both of
kidding.
you scoring too. I mean.
Yeah, and
that's-
Gene's was really unique. Had a left double main beam.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I seen a picture of it.
Yeah, that was pretty unique. So it was a great experience. I'd hunt moose again in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can't hunt a bull now
Yeah.
in Idaho anymore.
You can
Done.
hunt a cow, can't you?
Cow,
Still?
yeah, I could still.
Are you
going
going to put in for a cow?
Super tag.
Yeah, the super tag. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
right.
Well, yeah, and I could do a bull again on that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
anything. There
yeah,
you go.
I got a friend in Mountain Home that drew super tag, 4 species.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the it's the super hunt.
Super hunt.
Yeah, where you get all 4 species. Yeah, really.
Yeah, he texted me and he said, "Dude, I drew the super hunt."
How'd
I'm
he
like,
do?
I'm like, "How many tickets did you buy?" He said, "1."
Really?
Yeah. And
That's cool.
He filled all 4 tags.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
Yeah,
the cool
I-
thing about filming is I get to go on.
Yeah.
I've been on. I couldn't tell you how many.
Quite a few
moose
moose
hunts.
hunts, yeah.
In fact, I just sent one to a client today.
Yeah.
His 12-year-old son killed a monster bull, but yeah, that's the cool thing about that. So I get to experience them. That was the first one in a couple years, but I had a streak there where I was good doing a moose hunt every year for probably
Was the
4
last
years.
one the one where I was helping guide?
It was, yeah, that other kid.
Yeah. He was what, 12, wasn't he also?
Yeah, 12 or 13,
Yeah.
something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of cool. And all of those have made my bull look like a dink.
I was just happy to get one at that
Right.
point. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Lots
Yeah,
of great
everything-
meat.
Oh, it is.
You know,
I ate moose. I ate some yesterday,
Did you?
or night before last. Night before last, I had a moose roast because the guy gave me a little bit of the meat and found it in the freezer. It's like, oh, so cooked it up in the crock pot. Yes.
I think that's a great meat to introduce someone that's never had
Wild
wild
game.
game moose. I
Good
think
point.
is a good place to
I agree.
start. My wife makes a killer moose meatloaf,
Oh,
and we fed that to several people, and they just look at us and they're like, "This is not wild game."
Right.
Yes, it is.
Right.
But yeah, everybody
So-
then wants the recipe.
I bet. You sent the article in the Bowhunter magazine, was
Yeah,
it?
so Gene and I coming back from the hunt, I had my laptop with me. I can't remember why. We typed up the story, and I sent it in, emailed it in, and right away, bam, the editor, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, Kurt Wells.
Yeah.
Kurt Wells.
Okay.
He emails me right back. Terry, love the story, interested, want to hear more. Send me pictures. Well,
Did you have pictures of?
we had
Oh,
some, but in that situation, you're not
Well,
thinking,
yeah.
let's take pictures.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's video this and make it go viral.
So we did get some pictures, enough that he said, yeah, I can work with this. He goes, if you had more pictures, I'd have paid you a lot more money. But we did get paid. We split it. Gene and I split the money. But yeah, it made Bowhunter October 2015, right in the middle of the magazine.
Oh,
So pretty cool deal to have that
yeah.
published. And to his credit, he left the story the way I wrote it. He would just send back and go, okay, you're still too many words. I need you to
That's cool.
pare it down just a little bit
Yeah.
more. But when it hit the magazine and I got the magazine, I was like, wow, he didn't change
That's
it.
good.
He left it the way
Yeah.
it was.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Which is good because especially that's your experience, and so that's
Exactly.
exactly the way it happened, and
Yep.
not to make it sound.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just an incredible experience. I got enough of the magazines to send them to family.
Oh,
and then
cool.
Saved one or two for myself. It's
So
my moment of fame.
Right.
I know you said that you came up with an idea for the risk, your risk management, your page, and everything you're doing. Was this kind of in the beginning? You thinking at that point after this encounter or accident, whatever you want to call it, back then were you thinking, people should know more about this, or was it later on?
It was later on, but this one always comes to the forefront.
Yeah,
Right.
I think because
I would imagine.
this could have went really
That,
bad.
oh man, that could have went south,
Yeah.
way south.
The search and rescue guys said if any one of you would have got trapped between the boat and the tree,
Oh yeah,
you'd have been done.
For sure.
So this one always comes to the forefront. But just over the years, being a seasoned hunter now,
yeah,
I've been around enough, seen enough, heard about enough, to where I think I got to thinking maybe I should put this on Instagram or some platform where people, maybe they'll watch it, maybe they'll learn from it.
and I hope people of all ages, it. I guess maybe my attitude was the same when I was younger. You kind of think like, lack of better word, you're invincible. It'll never happen to me. Or,
Until it does.
Until it does, exactly. And you just never know. And you should always be thinking about. It's just like I remember working with younger guys, and I was in my early 50s or whatever, working with younger guys when it comes to like lifting things. Perfect example. I cut meat for a lot of years, so I know that I saw. That's kind of part of the reason why I did get out of it. Was I see the guys who've been cutting meat all their lives, who ended up with carpal tunnel, bad backs, and so that's when I started thinking maybe I should look at doing something different so it's not so hard on the body, because even though you may think everything's fine and it may be physically, just the repercussion of it. Perfect example, it'd be like almost like smoking. Let's just use smoking as an example. You may not feel it now, but later on, look at the effects it could have.
Exactly.
And I remember one younger guy, a lot younger than me. We were needed to lift up a pump, and I said, "Let me give you." It was a stainless steel pump, it's a heavy pump, 100-some pounds. And I said, "Let me give you a hand with that." He goes, "No, I can do it." And I was like, "Dude, those are heavy. Let me help you. Just let me be macho and do it." So he grabs it, picks it up, moves it, which I could have helped him easily. Next day he comes in all stoved up and twisted up, and I told him, I'm like, called him Opie. I said, Opie, think about this now. He was like 23, I think, and I says, by you trying to push yourself now and hurting your back like you did, that's going to come with, a price later on. So think about those things now. Whether they do or not, I don't know. But point is, I hope people listening to this think about that. No matter what age you are.
Right.
Think of the long-term, repercussions of it.
Exactly. And you brought up an interesting point there. Frequency. In the safety world, we look at things from a frequency or likelihood and severity standpoint. Yeah. So if you're young, the repetitions or the frequency of you lifting, you're going to have a lot of that over the years.
Yeah.
The more you're exposed to it, the better the chance you're going to suffer some type of injury. We don't know what the severity is.
Yeah.
In the case of that guy, 23, comes in already messed up.
Yeah.
And he's got a long life ahead of him yet.
Yeah.
He's going to be exposed to that again and again and again. There's a chance he'll need surgery at some point.
Yeah.
So that's why, I go around, teach people safe lifting techniques, which they roll their eyes like, yeah, I know how to lift.
Yeah.
But do you really?
Right.
Right.
Do you practice it?
Yeah.
Because knowing how to do it and practicing it is two different things. And I'm sure you guys probably teach that too at work, huh? Proper lifting
Oh, yeah.
and all that.
Yeah, we have safety training every month.
Yeah.
We call them periods, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cover different topics.
Yeah, just trying to reduce one or the other. Either reduce the likelihood of an event happening or the severity of it. Or if you can reduce both, that's good. So frequency of going out in the mountains without bear spray or a handgun.
Yeah.
When's the next time you're going to need a fire extinguisher? Nobody knows.
Right.
But when you need it,
Right.
you need it right now.
Exactly.
That's true.
And I look at the bear spray and the handgun the same way, and I plan on doing a reel on this.
That's good idea.
Yeah.
I can shoot a handgun.
Right.
Yeah.
Put a soda can at 20 yards, it might take me a few shots to hit it. Now, make me do 20 jumping jacks and then turn around and shoot back as I'm running away from the soda can.
Yeah.
I probably can't hit that thing. Give me a can of bear spray, I can make a big cloud.
Yeah.
And I have used bear spray twice.
Have you?
Once on a bear, once on a dog.
Oh.
It worked great both times.
Did it?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, my thought has always been on bear spray, and I have carried it, is the wind.
Both times I used it, I ended up getting some of it myself.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know no matter what, you're probably going to.
Yeah.
But I always think, what if the wind was blowing right to me, and I think about that. I have actually been chased a few times by wild pigs, and one time it was probably less than 10 feet.
Oh.
And I missed them 8 times.
With the handgun?
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 times.
Yeah, I was running and it was noise. I think the pig finally got bored. I just turned around. It was a 9-shot. It was just 22. And I tell people I was keeping the 9-shot in case he got a hold of me. I was just going to end it right there. No, but yeah, so in those situations, like you said, running and everything and trying to shoot. It's my encounter one time with a bear where I did pull out bear spray. I didn't spray it. It was a sow with 2 cubs. She did turn around, but I didn't have the bear spray pouch. I put it in my pocket on my leg, and it buttoned one of them. I couldn't have got it out fast enough. And I told myself after that, if I am going to carry bear spray, I'm going to carry it in the actual holster.
Yep.
Because I was trying hard to get it out. There's no way I could have got us. You know how fast bears are, She was only 20 yards away. So, if I do ever I carry a pistol now. So I got one of those Everly stock.
Bino goes on the bino harness? Yeah. I bought the gunfighter holster that goes underneath my bino pack, but I still have the
one on your side too.
Yeah, the bear spray on the side of my pack.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And when it happened to me, it was hunting over bait. It was 2 yearlings They weren't cubs. These were probably, I'm guessing, 50, 60-pound bears.
Yeah.
They were at the bait drum fighting over who got to pull the dog food out.
Yeah.
And the one bear walked away from the bait drum. And when I got in the tree, I noticed it had claw marks on it. And I'm like, this is not good. They've been in my tree stand. So the bear disappeared, and I thought, where is he going? So I pulled the bear spray and popped the safety off. And he came right to the base of the tree, sat down on his butt and looked up at me. And I'm standing there thinking to myself, do not put your feet on the tree. Do not. And he stood up and put his feet, and I sprayed him.
You know what I found? It seems like the younger bears are the more ballsy ones. Mm-hmm. Have you found that too? They're the ones that...
with one exception. I had one big bear that was ornery.
Really?
Yeah. And he wouldn't let me out of the tree, so I killed him. But
that's the best thing to do, Joe.
Exactly.
Good job.
Good risk management.
Exactly. But other than that, the young ones, they're curious, I think.
Yeah, I know I showed you the video this year. It was just on my phone. 20 yards, 25 yards, this bear was eating, and I'm yelling at it and everything. He care less, They puffed up a little bit.
That's scary. Yeah.
Yeah, because without not having that fear at all, they could easily charge. I did have a pistol with me, but
even this one, I figured, like I said, 50, 60 pounds. I'm like, I don't want him.
No.
I'm sure he could tear me up pretty good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the claws are.
Yeah. And they're so fast. Holy cow.
Yeah.
So
until you see it, you don't realize it.
Yeah.
So I sprayed him. He took off. Like I said, I got some of the spray back on me. Same when I sprayed the dog. What really gets you is the next time you shave.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, because hot water, the pores open up, and man, that stuff comes back out. That's when it gets you. But it's better than the alternative, right?
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you pretty hunt bears in the spring pretty much every year? Or?
I don't. I got onto turkeys.
Okay.
I love to hunt turkeys.
Yeah, turkey's fun.
Through the train to hunting event, a friend named Darren turned me on to some great turkey hunting area over in Eastern Oregon.
Okay.
So I've been making trips over there. Got my grandson on his first bird. He missed, but but I keep thinking about, okay, fill a turkey tag, go bear hunting. Just grab the rifle and start wandering around. It just hasn't happened.
Gotcha.
I've only killed one bear with the rifle, but I would love to get one with the bow.
Yeah.
But anyone that says, I read somewhere one time, somebody said shooting a bear over bait's like shooting a parked car. And I'm like, you've obviously never tried to bait in bears, because it is not that easy by a long shot. I've spent
You had them years where prethel of bears coming in when you're there, blah, blah, blah. And then I've had years where the bait was getting clobbered. Nothing coming in when you're hunting, or coming nocturnally, or this. Actually, even before I was using trail cameras, you had absolutely no clue when they were coming in. It was a total crapshoot, when they were going to be in there. But it's hunting. I really just enjoy being out there. If I kill something, great. But I really do like, this year I had several bears coming in I could have shot. But I kind of had my eyes set on a certain bear, or last spring I should say, and didn't kill one, which is fine. But just getting out there that time of year, springtime.
After being trapped indoors all winter, then you get to go out,
Pig hunting, turkey hunting.
Shed hunting.
Which is coming up here pretty quick.
Very soon.
Yeah. Do you shed hunt at all?
I do. Where was I at just this?
Don't tell your spots.
No, just this.
You can if you'd like.
I'd like to know some myself. I told you I was out shooting my rifles last weekend, and as I was, loaded up and I was going to drive home, I made it maybe a quarter mile, and I saw a pickup truck and a guy standing there, and he had sheds strapped to his pack.
Really?
And I stopped, and I'm like, "You're finding them already?" He goes, "Yeah, I already found a couple brown."
Nice.
And then he had one.
Were they deer or elk?
Deer.
Yeah.
But I'm like, wow, this seems early. They were just little forkies.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were already.
Well, yeah, I don't know enough about it because I don't really do it, but is that pretty common? Is the smaller one shed earlier or not necessarily?
I don't know either.
Yeah. And
In my head, I've always thought the bigger ones, because their horns are heavier, would fall off first. But a lot of
Yeah,
times you'll
that's
start
true.
finding the smaller ones early. And I really don't know the answer to that.
And there's probably no science to it. We're just.
Well, there might be. I just
might
don't
be
know what it is.
overthinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need it. Most of the time, if I go out hunting sheds, I don't find any. It's when I'm just out walking around,
Right.
and then I find them.
Honestly, it's a great exercise. That's why I started years ago, was just to do something other than lift weights and run on a treadmill,
Yeah.
Before bear season. To start
Absolutely.
getting in shape, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it became an obsession.
My wife has bested me on shed antlers. She found a pretty decent shed moose antler
That's
Oh.
cool.
one night.
Cool.
She was just putzing around the four-wheeler up in the
Up
mountains. And, yeah.
Right.
up there. And she's just putzing along. She, it's early spring, weeds not covering everything yet.
Right.
And she just glanced to her right and thought, that looks like a moose antler.
Mm-hmm.
Jumps off the four-wheeler, sure enough.
Really?
Yep.
Was it in a likely spot for moose?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Not a lot of moose in that area,
Yeah.
but apparently
Obviously,
there's
there's
some.
one.
Yeah. So yeah, she's bested me on that, and I probably don't have the number. I don't have enough sheds like you to build a Christmas tree. That's pretty cool, by the way. But I've got some, and we're in a smaller house now, and the challenge of finding somewhere to put them.
Yeah.
That's the.
I've got a shed full down there too. I started making stuff because I had nowhere left to put stuff.
Yeah, and if you're not going to sell them, you almost want to find something to do with them, right?
Exactly.
But it's like gold when you find them.
It is.
And everybody that finds, I was at a 3D shoot one time and somebody overshot the target, and we were out behind the target looking for the arrow, and I found a shed,
That's cool.
just a small forky.
Yeah.
Well, everybody came rushing. Nobody cared about the arrow anymore. They
Right.
wanted to see.
That's so true, though. My wife and she does not go with me, but this last year, her and my oldest daughter went for a day on a day trip, and it happened to be one of those days. It was the best day of the year by far, and probably one of the best days I've had ever. And it just, they were hooked. They found their first sheds ever, and they're like, okay, then we get it.
Yeah, now we get
Little do they know, you can walk 15 miles and not find a single one. We all came back with, shoot, my pack was so freaking heavy with elk antlers, I couldn't carry. I wouldn't have been able to carry anymore. There's no way.
I'd love to hit something like that.
It's so cool. It does not happen very often, but when it does, it's unbelievable.
Now you keep all yours. You don't sell them.
I don't sell them, no. Nope, I don't sell them, but like I said, I started making stuff, and I have a little t-shirt business, and we sell hats and shirts and hoodies and stuff like that. So I started selling. We make bottle openers out of them, and we laser engrave them and stuff like that.
wine
stops
savers,
and yeah. So we're gonna start making some rings and stuff too. I just bought a lathe to start making
cool.
all rings, that kind of stuff.
Neat.
So
What's your favorite thing to hunt? Do you have anything in particular?
Probably right now I'm on a quest for a bigger muley. So probably
that's a lifelong quest.
muley. Yeah, I know. And I went to a hunting summit in Montana last year just on mule deer.
I remember that's the one. Yeah, you went to. You actually Joel was up there, right?
Yeah,
the one
Joel was there, and a guy from Eastern Idaho, Robbie Denning.
Yeah, yeah.
He was there, and just other guys talking about big mule deer. My son, when he was 13, shot a pretty good 26-inch 4-point, and I still haven't
Beat it.
beat it. It would probably help if I quit pulling the trigger when I see antlers. It's a spike.
That's the first step to recovery.
That's the first step.
I just growing up in Pennsylvania, that's sort of the way it was. If you saw a legal buck, you shot it.
Oh, 100%. I grew up hunting blacktails in Northern California, and if you see a buck, you shoot it because it's going to be the only one you see.
Yeah, there's a good chance.
So it's hard to get away from
And
that.
I just love the meat too. I mean, but I know, let them grow, let them go, let them grow, and I have passed up animals, plenty of animals, but there comes down to, and it's not about just filling my tag, and it's not every animal, but antelope is one thing.
Oh yeah,
I want to shoot an antelope. I do love the meat.
Oh. Have you tried antelope meat?
Yeah,
It's
I've
the best.
killed 3 with the bow. I've heard a lot of people complain about it. What I've found, I keep a cooler with ice and water in the bed of the
Yeah.
truck, and as soon as I can, that animal is rinsed and getting cooled down.
Yeah.
My litmus test is, will the wife eat it?
Right.
And
Well,
she'll eat the antelope I've killed. She's
good.
eaten off all 3 of them, so it must mean it tastes okay, because she'll let me know. She'll even ask me, hey, I know it's coming up to elk season. Could you shoot a nice cow and leave them rutting bulls alone?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
So, probably, right now, mule deer. But I don't know, turkeys. I love to hunt turkeys, too, because you shoot a turkey, you throw it over your shoulder and bring it out one trip.
This is true.
True.
Not 7. Like your first
Yeah,
elk.
the more seasons you get, the more that's more
Yeah.
attracting that is.
Yeah. Do you hunt them in Idaho too? Have you been?
I have hunted in Idaho, but I've found to get away from the crowds, I end up driving 5-6 hours
you gotta
north.
drive
Right.
a ways.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
from where I live, I can be over in my spot in Oregon in 3 hours,
Oh,
and you can shoot 3.
and it's
You shoot 3?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
that's
public
cool.
property.
Yep.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, it's awesome. And the locals over there, the only thing they care about is sheds.
Really?
Yeah, I hardly ever run into another turkey hunter.
Wow.
So obviously, I'm not going to tell you where I'm hunting, but
Right.
No.
yeah, they and I did find one nice 5-point shed. They have a lot of elk in that area, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody that I run across is just shed hunting.
Huh. Where's this at? Kidding. Kidding.
Nice try.
It was worth the effort.
Yeah, I go to California, and primarily because I know some people over there that, and try to combine it with a hog hunt. And so I'll try to go in springtime if I can to hunt both.
Yeah, so I have a goal of killing one with a bow, killing a turkey with a bow.
Oh, yeah.
I tried that. It almost happened for me last year. Sitting in the blind, gobbler was coming. I could hear the hen putting. That's how close.
Yeah.
She'd purr, putt. I'm like, okay, here we go. And I'm talking to myself, the Joel Turner thing. Okay, remember? And I got my decoys out in front of me. And that gobbler gobbled, and I'm like, oh, here we go. It's going to happen. And all of a sudden, kaboom.
Oh, no.
I have no idea how the guy got in on it. But,
Wow.
Oh.
and I don't know if he killed it. I never saw the guy. I didn't hear any wings flopping, so I don't know what happened.
Dang.
Apparently, when I was calling, making the bird gobble,
Yeah.
the
he
guy
was
cut
moving
in
on him.
between.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I got to give him credit. One, he was able to sneak in and get in gun range.
Yeah.
He didn't know.
Probably didn't know.
He didn't know I was
Yeah.
a person calling. He thought I was a real hen.
Sure.
Just used it to his advantage. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I want to get one with a bow. And then this year, 2023, going to Alaska on a caribou hunt.
Oh, sweet.
And I've been waiting for that for 3 years.
that
I would
archery
love
or
to
gun?
do that too.
It's either a weapon and can kill 2.
Yep.
Okay.
And the outfitter told us we should have a black bear tag and a wolf tag. He said, because you're going to see both.
Absolutely.
I'll probably get the wolf tag. I don't know about the bear tag because it's $400.
Oh.
Well, we can kill those here too. So
Yeah, so I'm
whatever.
not real worried about the bear, but we can get 2. Just the adventure.
Absolutely.
Got to fly into
Is it a drop
Fairbanks.
camp?
Yeah. So we got to fly into Fairbanks and then either get a charter flight to the lodge or drive 6 hours north on the haul road.
Yep.
And
Been
then
there.
get picked up by the outfitter.
We're in a Coldfoot or something.
Coldfoot.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And I think we're going to do the charter, even though it costs more. He can set it up. Finding someone to let you rent a vehicle to go from Fairbanks up the Hall Road.
That's what we did.
Yeah, I've had
it
everybody
was
tell me,
like-
just don't tell them, just take it. But
Do what?
I've had people
Oh,
say,
yeah,
just
that's
don't,
right. Yeah.
don't tell them, just
Yeah.
rent it and take it.
Yeah.
But-
We actually rented a truck with a camper.
Oh,
3 of us did. And an overshot camper, and went up the Hall Road. We went all the way up to Dead Horse, but we were hunting the pipeline,
okay,
which is archery only within 5 miles of it.
right of the road.
But we
yeah.
went through Coldfoot and all that there, and it was a cool experience. But we had the time to drive and everything. But I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, this outfitter only does 1 drop hunt a year. Otherwise, it's
Oh.
guided. And I have a friend in Fairbanks that I guess talked this outfitter into doing 1 drop hunt a year. So we're going to take the bow and the rifle. He has told us already, if you're not seeing caribou, message me on the inReach. I'll come get you and move you.
Oh, cool.
But he said, usually I can I'll put you in a spot where the caribou are, because
Speaking of inReach, have you obviously have one?
right, yep.
Haven't you found that that's like to me nowadays, I know there's certain things, some people are old school, don't want to use certain things, but to me that is something, if nothing else for safety wise.
Right.
I mean, you can't beat those things.
Right. And I'm like you, I want to be off the grid.
Yeah.
I'd rather not hear from anybody, but my wife doesn't like that.
Right.
So she initially, years ago, bought me a spot unit.
Yep.
But then I transitioned to the inReach when I found out you could basically text
Absolutely.
anything on it.
I don't know where I had a spot also, and I still don't know where it's at. Kind of lost it.
Yeah.
And it's been several years ago. But in 2020, I think it was, when I started using the inReach, or 2019, one of the two. And those things are...
Yeah, they're great. I've used them. I've hunted Kodiak twice, used it up there. Was in the Frank Church last year. Like I said, my wife is on vacation in Florida, and we're messaging back and forth like
right.
What I like
text messaging.
Yeah,
What I like about it too is you can turn it on and shut it off. It's not like you got to do your subscription like cell phone or whatever.
Right, yeah.
So that part's...
Yeah, I just do the monthly subscription because I'm afraid I know me, I'll take off and forget to
That's true.
log in and turn it on. So I just pay the $12.99 a month. Okay. But I just did some reels on the inReach and some other stuff that's out there. And then I don't know if you saw the one I did about upcoming technology. Turns out the iPhone 14 is going to have the SOS function on it.
Yep, I saw that.
And then I also put on there Elon Musk and T-Mobile and Amazon and Verizon have signed agreements to use their low Earth orbit satellites. And pretty soon getting off the grid is not going to be a thing, because I don't know what it's going to cost, but you'll always be able to communicate via satellite
Really?
or cell
Just off your
towers
phone.
on your cell phone.
So my job, actually, I'm off the grid cell phone wise for a ways, and I've kept my inReach on just for that.
Smart
because
move.
if I've got a guy that I work with, he went off the road in the snow, and several miles from anywhere. Luckily, somebody came by, but I thought I was going to turn it off like I normally do. I thought I'm just going to go ahead and leave it on. It's worth it to never know.
Yep.
So
There was, I remember hearing about an older gentleman, I want to say he was in his 90s, right here in Twin Falls, was cross-country skiing somewhere in the area, fell down, couldn't get back up, but he had an inReach.
Oh, wow.
And he hit the SOS, and within a short amount of time, they had rescued him. And they contrasted that with another older gentleman about the same weekend. Got lost up in the mountains. When they found him, it was... he was gone. He was deceased because he had no way to communicate.
Oh,
where
okay.
He was at.
Okay, I see. So he didn't have something.
Yeah, one had an inReach, the other didn't.
Yeah.
One survived.
One didn't.
The other didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's well worth the money, that's for sure.
Yeah. No
it's
doubt.
One time, putting out a couple $100, whatever they are now. But you can do a relatively cheap monthly subscription.
Yeah, it's $12.99.
Yeah.
And that's unlimited pre-programmed messages.
Right.
So I pre-program in all is good.
Yeah.
And I send that to my daughter, my wife, my son-in-law will get it. And then the cool thing is, with the text message, there's an embedded GPS.
Yeah.
Look, you click on it, and even if you don't have the Garmin app, it does open up a map.
Yeah.
And it shows that person exactly where you are.
they're at. Yep.
So that, usually what I'll do is I'll send that preset message to my wife first thing in the morning, and then right before I go to bed, maybe midday.
Gotcha.
And then I have another one that says animal down this location. I love sending that one out.
Right.
Can't get that one out enough.
Yeah. And then I think I have one that says, I need help. This is not an emergency.
Oh. Pack it out.
In case something like that comes up. And then you always have that SOS button if things go really bad.
Yeah. Well, cool. Right on. Well, we really appreciate you coming and sharing stories, and good luck with I think what you're onto with the with your page, your Instagram, and I think it's a great thing.
I don't think we told everybody what the name of it was.
It's Hunt and Heart.
Did we?
Yeah. So I appreciate let me let me do this.
That was awesome.
If you don't mind, I'll take some pictures here at the end. And
Yeah, you bet.
I wanted to talk about this a little bit, the moose hunt, but I wanted to wait till we did the podcast to talk about that. So yeah, I appreciate the boost.
But also to get a hold of you on Instagram, it's just what?
HH_Idaho
Okay.
is the handle.
Gotcha.
It's HH_Idaho.
And you have a Facebook as well?
I don't.
Not
Just Instagram. I have a website, but I haven't done anything with it yet. My intent is to start a safety consulting business and starting out teaching CPR classes.
Yeah. I saw that.
Which I do now for work. And then everybody's seen what happened to DeMar Hamlin there, the football player.
Yeah.
And right now there's a lot of emphasis, it seems like, on take a CPR class.
Yeah.
My wife looked at me last night and said, I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. One step at a time here.
Right.
And that is something that's important to know. Basic
Exactly.
first aid and CPR. 'Cause,
Just like a fire extinguisher.
yeah. You just
Don't
never
know when you're gonna need it, but-
hopefully you never do. But
Right.
if you do, at least you're prepared.
Exactly.
So, cool. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was nice to meet you. I'd like to have you back and talk about that caribou hunt when you get
Yes.
back.
Yeah,
actually.
for sure.
I'm up for it.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Take some pictures. We can throw them on here too.
Will do.
Right.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thanks for sticking around, guys. Appreciate you.
Yep. Be sure and like and subscribe. Smash it.